Hi guys, how's it going? Thank you so much for being here today. I'm Nika and I make book related videos, and today we're going to be talking about Trust the Universe by Dhiraj Taneja. So Trust the Universe by Dhiraj Taneja is a book that really puts forward the idea of attraction, like how, if you're willing to work hard for something along with wishing for it, and you're not simply wishing for something, you're putting in both hard work and also your hopes for it, then the universe definitely works and conspires to make sure that you get the thing. So I was really excited to read this book and see how it goes for me, because a while back I did review another book of the author, and I'll link that down below, everything. And it is a book which was widely different from this one, and it was a book on financial systems. The name of the book was Financial Freedom, Master the Money Game. And from the name itself, you know that it is about finance. And when I knew that this author has written another book that is entirely different, not at all how can I say this, not at all supposed technical like a topic of finance, but rather something very much spiritual and motivational or inspirational, I was really intrigued and I wanted to read this book as well and see how it goes for me, because obviously these two genres, although both are fiction, are widely different. And I wanted to see how it goes. Alright, so next I'm going to tell you about 5 lessons from this book, what I learned from the book, what the author wanted to convey, and of course what I learned from what he wanted to convey. So the first lesson that I got from this book is that you should always practice gratitude, and you should always try to give back to community. And this is an idea which the author has, really stressed upon in the previous book as well. And I think that it is really, really important and something we need to keep in mind, especially in today's context, because of course people have become so disillusioned, and people are now seeking to write a gratitude journal and everything, and perhaps it is demanding, or it is showing that there needs to be certain changes in how we perceive our life, how we live our everyday life. And I think it begins to start from here. We need to start practicing gratitude and being thankful for what we have, and also giving to society. And it shouldn't be just take. We should always try to give back and help others, help the community as much as we can. Moving on, the author also talks about liabilities and assets and the difference between them. So assets are basically the things that can generate cash flow for you. They'll bring you money. But liabilities are those things that will take away that money from you. And it is very important to be able to understand the difference between both, because financial freedom is of course another thing. Financial freedom, or the lack thereof, it is something that can either give you peace of mind, or if you're in a lot of debt or in a lot of financial trouble, then of course it will take away that peace of mind for you. And so it is very important, firstly, to understand where you stand in terms of finance. Then the author also talked about the importance of learning. Now, learning is something that should be lifelong, and like my own father says, so like my father says, learning is like an inverted pyramid. There's a beginning to learning, but there's no end. It doesn't end, it never ends, because every day you learn something new or the other, of course, as long as you're open to it. So that's something the author also says, that you should always be learning. You should always try to gain a knowledgeable lesson every day, from even the smallest bit of your life. And then the author also talks about a lot of financial stuff, and basically how your income should always be more than what you spend. So basically your expenses should be lesser than what you actually earn, and that is something a lot of people struggle with, and I think that's really important to curb your spending habits. And then the author also includes several debt repayment tips and tricks, which I think will be helpful to many, if not all. And I think that was a very, very important point, because whenever we talk about mental health stuff, we often forget how we always think of all these different spheres which can exert pressure on our minds, but then I think we hardly, not very much, not I'm not saying we don't always, but sometimes, most of the time, we really disregard the importance of financial situations, financial stress on us, and how they can really affect our peace of mind, our mental health. Then the author also talks about the importance of planning ahead. It basically keeps you organized, free of stress. You don't forget anything at the last moment. And as a person who always uses a bullet journal and a couple of other journals as well to make sure I remember things, I really, really believe in this tip that the author has given. You should always have a planner. It doesn't matter, if you have like physical planner on a note copy, on an actual bullet journal, or on your phone's app. I think if you can manage with your phone, that's just as well. So basically, you just need to have a planning system. Basically, it will really keep you organized and always prepared for anything that you may otherwise have forgotten. Then the author also talks about certain lifestyle changes that are really necessary that we should make in order to grow in life. He also really asserts on the importance of having actual people who will inspire you rather than people who drag you down. And I think this is something that we all can take a lesson from. I mean, we all have certain people in our lives who are not necessarily very supportive. They're just there for the sake of it. So overall, the book is really divided into 9 chapters, and each chapter has, delved into its own subgenre. You could say it all deals with different things. And I think this is a book, an inspirational book, a non-fiction book, a self-help book, which will really help you without boring you. And that's not something I find for every other book. The author also talks about a lot of other things, how one can, persevere more, the importance of perseverance, how to avoid procrastination, how to grow confidence, and all of that, which I think are really, really important and beneficial for today. Because no matter how much we believe that, we should not judge a book by its cover, first impression, if not the last impression, but it can be a lasting impression. So I think it's really important how we present ourselves to others in the first meeting. So yeah, there are certain pointers that the author also includes for all of these aspects as well. I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars, and the problem I had with this was that, I have read the other book previously, which is Financial Freedom, Master the Money Game, by the same author. So I did find that a certain few aspects of this book of that book was repetitive in this book as well, and I was not really comfortable with that, and I just felt that it dragged the whole narrative, if I can call it that, the whole narrative a bit, just because of certain parts which I've already read before in the previous book. But yeah, that's the only problem I had with the book. I just found that it was a bit repetitive, especially because, like I said, I've read the other book already, and that is something that you can, of course, that is something very subjective, because I have read the book earlier, and if you haven't, I think this is the great book to start with, because I think that the initial ideas regarding financial and financial freedom and everything may have grown there, but the author has really, elaborated a bit on all of those topics in this book. So I think you should definitely check this book out as well, and you should also check out that book if self-help is not really your genre, but you would really find maybe financial tips and tricks and all of that much more beneficial to you. Then you should definitely check out that video as well. I'll have linked the video somewhere around here or in the description box. I'm not sure, I don't really know, but yeah, I think this is going to be really helpful for you all. And overall, I think that this was a great book. This was really really inspirational, really helpful without being boring, which again, not something that every self-help book can accomplish. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned the lessons that I learned from this book, and I hope that I convinced you to pick up this book. If so, definitely do check out the book, and I'll link the details down below, everything. And I hope you all stay safe and take care, and I'll see you again very, very soon with probably a book haul video, so stay tuned for that as well, and I'll see you again. Bye bye.